All right, Oval fans, here we go. We are talking about last night's episode, A Stranger at Home. Whew, because I know that Hunter and Victoria certainly don't know the young man living under their roof at the White House anymore. I did the live stream last night, had a good time talking with everyone. Somebody actually on Twitter was like, have I thought about doing, I believe it's called like Twitter Live. I never even knew that was a thing. Like anytime there's like The Bachelor Live or This Is Us Live or, the Grammys Live, I just thought that was like, oh, if I click on this hashtag, then it'll take me to a link where I can just watch said event. I didn't know it was like a YouTube live stream or something. I mean, I'll look into it, but I can't guarantee I'll do it. It is pretty interesting though, because, I pretty much live tweet while I'm watching the episode live anyway. So, excuse me, that's something I can consider in the near future. Excuse me, dang, got the hiccups. But yeah, I was debating what to score this episode. It was a good episode, don't get me wrong, but it did feel like in places there was a lot of exposition going on as opposed to action. I mean, especially like the Frida scenes when she was with Richard and then when she was with Priscilla. And it just felt like, again, I'll say it again, an exposition dump. I mean, a lot of background, which isn't bad because it is kind of good to know who some characters are from what we know them to be. Set up for potential future plot lines. So overall, this was a decent episode. I was balancing on giving it like a 7 or an 8, but after talking it out with other viewers on YouTube, and when that fool Jason popped up from behind the tub, I have to give this a solid 9 out of 10. Like, just because the score is a 9 out of 10, I'm not going to say it's my favorite episode of the season so far, but I do feel like it is an episode which has bred a lot of great discussions. I completed all of my Oval discussion videos prior to doing this video. So basically, I did some very thought-provoked videos, especially about Jason. And that's his own separate video. So what I'm going to do, we're about to dive into the episode review itself. Again, A Stranger at Home, Season 2, Episode 5. My personal score is a 9 out of 10. So go ahead and hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content to the channel. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below, and hit subscribe to help me reach 200,000 subscribers. Again, thank you so much. We are slowly climbing. We went from only 24 to over 30% of viewer watch time coming from my subscribers instead of non-subscribers. So in order to help the channel reach at least 40% by the end of the month. If you are a frequent viewer of the channel, thanks for stopping by. Your views help me pay my bills, but hit subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, check the page frequently because I do post content on a, regular basis for the most part. So the episode picks up where we left off, where Jason pretty much confirms that he killed his grandmother. And he's looking for thanks from Victoria. And she's like, what the hell are you talking about? You hated her. She was wicked. She was mean and she had to go. That's literally the basis of what he was talking about. So then he moves on to describing the situation with Denise, because remember in season 1, he did tell Hunter that, he knew about every time Denise showed up to the White House. So he knew about it, but he takes it to the next level by revealing, hey, here's what happened. I actually saw you having sex with her all the time, spitting on her, pissing on her, and she laughed. She loved it. Just evil. And basically, I saw how upset mom was getting about it, and you kept bringing her around, so she had to go too. And I'm like, what the hell? Also, side note, I mentioned this during my live stream. I actually ordered DoorDash, and thankfully, I ordered Bojangles. They were closing at 9. I'm like, ooh, it's 8:30. Let me just gamble and order and see what happens. Like, if it's late, they'll cancel the order. But on the plus side, I'm like, well, I haven't been through a drive-thru in forever. And I know that sometimes if you go to a place at a certain time, like not quite exactly at closing, but when you're in that small window of not being annoyingly late, like being in line at like the last 5 minutes, but I was in the last 30 minutes, maybe I'll get extra food. So lo and behold, the Lord saw fit to not only get my order correct, but it felt like my bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit had extra bacon on it. The biscuit was very well done, which I love it. Not burnt, but I mean dark brown. And when I opened my box for my 4-piece Supreme snack, there was 9 tenders in there. I'm like, hallelujah. So, I felt like Nancy when Priscilla wrote a check for $25,000 when she only needed, what was it, $7,000 or $5,000? So basically, when Jason was doing this, exposition dump, it was like 9:03. I got the alert on my phone, so I'm like, damn. So I had to run to my door to get my food, and by the time I got back, it was right when it got to the theme song. So I had missed part of the speech, but I went back and watched it. Thankfully, I didn't miss too much. He basically just said, hey, I killed Denise because she kept coming around. And then you, Mom, what about you? I saw you in the kitchen coming on to Sam and Max multiple times. So basically, he goes on a rant and talks about how he is a result of the lack of love he got from his parents. Not to mention, he's like, you know what? I'm turning 18 soon, and then I want my own place. I'm thinking, bro, you literally admitted to 3 murders. You're not just going to move out and go out on your own. That's not how this works. Oh, damn. Yeah, it's almost 6 o'clock. People are leaving in the parking lot to go to work and stuff. Because I wonder what the hell that sound was. But basically, Jason feels like he's in control of the situation. Victoria tries to, hold the reins, and you ain't going nowhere but prison. And Hunter's like, wait. We can't send him to prison. It's going to ruin everything. We'll get you some help. It's almost like Hunter is trying to be the understanding one because he realizes the weight of this situation. Whereas Victoria, on the other hand, is like, mother, MF, you killed my mother. You just tried to strangle me. You going to jail. And then basically it's a back and forth between Victoria and Jason when he once again tries to choke her. And I'm thinking the whole time, Hunter's taking this. Jason tries to choke his mother. Hunter was taking his sweet time before he stepped in. I'm like, well, damn, man, you want to let him kill your wife before you actually step in and grab him? So then he goes to, I'm staying here and you're going to like it. I'm going to be in my room. Tell me when it's lunchtime. I'm like, this is how those like school shooters and bombers go about. It's like, stay out of my room, Mom. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't have locks on my bedroom door when I was a kid. For real. We didn't have that. It's funny because in the apartment, I mentioned this time and time again, in my bedroom, always got the door locked. Whenever I'm not out of my room, I always got the door locked. I don't know if it's like precaution or something in case something pops off. It's just one of those feelings where I feel like that was ingrained in me as a child because I never had locks on my door as a kid. I always feel the need to lock my door now. It's kind of like one of those things like my mom doesn't grab the first of something on the store shelf. She always gets the one behind it. That's a habit I picked up. Again, it's kind of like the Jason thing. You pick up certain things from your parents. Now, if you're disappointed that I'm not going fully in depth in the Jason stuff, look at my other video where I talked about the whole, why Jason's story is important. I think that's the title of the video. I go into full detail there because I know we're almost 10 minutes in and there's a lot to talk about here. Okay, so basically, they go back and forth about whether or not to send him to prison or get him committed. And strangely enough, Hunter says he's going to get Kyle and Donald to get rid of the body. And Victoria's like, no, we need to get my dad to get involved. The FBI's like, no, Kyle and Donald. I'm thinking to myself, Kyle and Donald still haven't even cleaned up the Denise mess. How the hell are you going to expect them to successfully do the gene operation as well? So then we go to a brief scene over at Richard's house where Barry goes into the kitchen to let Nancy know the situation about Ruth. But before that, he suggests that, hey, Ma, Dad's really mad right now. I think you might be better off kind of giving him some space. And again, this is the kind of Barry I wish we seen more of. Like, he's level-headed, he's calm. I understand he's upset about the circumstances of his situation, especially involving his daughter, but I really wish we see more of this Barry because he's tolerable. I'm able to deal with this Barry as opposed to, hey, nobody's helped me find my daughter. This kind of Barry I wish we saw more of. And then we switch over to the whole Ruth situation where he talks about how, yeah, she arrested me for, abducting her, and now she's out somewhere. I don't know where Callie is. And then, he kind of, brings up the fact that it's her fault, Nancy. And then it's like, I remember tweeting, it's like, well, Nancy, is this disrespect or the facts? And I'm not saying Nancy isn't innocent for what happened to Callie, but I also remember saying in a video or tweeting this out that given what we've seen in Ruthless, even if Nancy did not invite Ruth over to the house in episode 1, if the Raku wanted Callie, they were going to come get Callie in one way, shape, or form. Unfortunately, Nancy just helped expedite the process. Seriously, if you watch Ruthless, then you know the Raku don't give an F. They will find a way, one way or another. They don't care about no restraining order. All right, so then we go over to Kyle and Donald going over to Hunter, and Hunter's like, open the trunk. I'm thinking, first of all, dude, what the hell? I don't know if this is kind of like payback. It's like, well, yeah, Victoria made me look under that damn bed, so I'm going to make these two look in this trunk. So I'm like, was that really necessary? Like, it's one of those situations like if a friend tells you they saw something messed up or scary or nasty, and instead of, warning them about, and then warning you about, it's like, hey, look at this too, so you can be creeped out like me. I don't want to see that shit. So basically, they open the box, and I'm thinking like, well, isn't this smell going to be in the foyer of the residency? What you got to open the box for? So basically, like, what's going on? It's like, sir, not again. So basically, it's like, it wasn't me. It was my son. So basically, I think Kyle even tried to flip the script like, well, you got a cover story, sir. So basically, Kyle's like, well, Mr. President, what are you freaking out for? You didn't do this. We could just pin this on your son. And Kyle's like, never mind. I'll just take this trunk and go somewhere with it. So basically, Hunter and Donald kind of have a one-on-one. And Hunter's like, am I a bad parent? And Donald's like, sir. Because it's like, yeah, even you can't even sugarcoat this to make him feel better. Let me give you a drink. So, he brings up the fact that my son went in the room and killed Denise. Kyle was like, that's impossible, sir. I was standing outside the front of the room the entire time. And he's like, I know, but he found some kind of way in. And it's like, well, sir, because what? They turned around because he had to go to the restroom. I'm like, well, sir, I would have been alerted by it. What do you mean? Yes, the person on call would have told me that, the first family was coming back to the White House. Well, who was on deck that day? Max. And it's like, oh yeah. So that explains why Kyle was unaware that the first family were coming back to the White House for that bathroom run for Jason. So Donald suggests getting some sort of, getting him admitted. And he's like, no. We can move him to another part of the White House. We can have doctors and whatnot come in. And Hunter's like, I can't believe I'm scared of my 17-year-old son. So that was a good scene. But again, it just shows that these people are more concerned with keeping up their image as opposed to maintaining his child's sanity, and the fact that he's underestimating the fact that, bro, he admitted to killing 3 women. He tried to kill your wife in front of you twice. How do you know this crazy MF won't come after you? Okay, so then we go over to Dale and Kareem at the pharmacy. And remember, Dale is from Ruthless. He pretty much fills out the application. He says, hey, I can work right away if you allow me. So he has to fill out a form. So then after he goes to another part of the store to fill it out, Kareem just goes, again, it's just the same damn thing with him every single scene. I mean, the Kareem and Sharon stuff, as well as Barry, is just as repetitive as the Karen and Aaron stuff and Sisters, where it's like, oh, you're so hot, lay in bed with me. Well, yeah, we can't do anything because we got to maintain celibacy. Go sleep on the couch. It's pretty much that the entire time. Are you okay? Sorry about last night. Why don't you come live with me? I'm like, bro, read the room. So then we go briefly to Lily leaving the cabin with Max and Bobby because she's going back to her husband's house to maintain an undercover persona in order to find some information they can use to bring down the administration. Bobby's nervous about it. He wants her to call and stuff. So she gets in the car and leaves. Max comes out and talks with him for a little bit. And they pretty much, exchange information about what their plan is to bring down Kyle. And the fact, Bobby's kind of, hesitant to trust Max. And he needs about another day to recover before he's able to, up and leave to visit some contacts and whatnot. And apparently Max and his wife were getting a divorce anyway. I don't know if he sleeps around or whatever. Like he said, Bobby was like, have you ever found the one? Yeah, multiple times. And, with this whole story about me and Yuma going at it about a woman, she could probably use this against me in court. So we need to settle this right away, get to the bottom of this. So this false narrative of me won't be used to destroy me in my personal life. So they pretty much, got together to pull their resources to figure out what's up. And we see in the preview for next week, things get real between the two when they're left to their own devices. So we got over to the White House. It's the beginning of a new day of the shifts for the workers. Priscilla comes in and apparently her clearance was messed up. Like she's not able to get into work. And I'm thinking, yep, this is Sam's doing. And Richard comes back to the White House to work as the butler. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not seen Richard working in the White House. We have not seen Richard in his butler attire since like season 1, episode 3 or 4, which means that it's been a full season since he's been at work as the butler. It's been well over a year in our time since Richard has been at work. How crazy is that? So Sam eventually comes in, and after a back and forth between him and Priscilla, she pretty much promises to be good. Like, she won't do anything to threaten or do anything to the first lady to harm her. So that's pretty much, that scene. Richard decides to post himself up and talk with Frida about, hey, I'm sorry I worried you. I'm glad I'm glad to be back at work. And, they kind of flirt back and forth. And long story short, it's like, basically, you flirted with me all this time. I'm trying to flirt back. Well, what about your wife? Well, we're going through some marital problems right now, and I'd love to take you to dinner. Let me get your phone number. And then kissed her on the cheek. And I'm like, man, Richard up in there trying to ruffle Frida's feather duster. That was crazy. All right, so Dale is trying to adjust to the new job. And as Kareem steps away, I think because Sharon's like, hey, you got a customer at the front, he asked Sharon to kind of show him the ropes. Basically, he's attracted to Kareem because he's like, he makes me a little nervous. Why? He's an asshole. It's like, no, not that. What? He's cute. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go. It's because if you watch Ruthless and he's gay. But essentially, he just moved from a small town in Virginia. He's basically giving his exposition, his backstory. A small town in the back of the woods, not very open-minded people. Him being gay is a problem for his parents and everyone else around. So he decided to move. And then he brings up the Rakadushi. Sharon's like, wait, what? So again, if you don't watch Ruthless, this was a nice little segment to give you background on who Dale was and why he moved away. And Sharon's like, hey, I know somebody who's actually looking for these people because they took his daughter. Could you tell this information to someone else? Sure. So she walks away to talk with Sam, and Sam's like, hey, I'll come by to talk to this guy at the pharmacy later, but Sharon, don't tell Barry. She's like, I won't. I'm like, thank God, because good and well, if Barry knew about this, he'd go all there. Oh, God, it would not be pretty. So we get to and I like this scene because we're seeing a new location in the White House. I guess this is like the official like kitchen where like the whole staff goes down to do stuff. But basically, Sam goes down to see Priscilla and Frida are down there, and he just wants to check to see what Priscilla's doing because, she's cooking or something. She wants to make sure she isn't tampering with the food or anything like that can harm anybody. So after he leaves, Frida's like, is everything okay between you and Sam? Like, yeah, we're okay. So she talks about how they're kind of shorthanded right now. And Priscilla's like, okay, I'll go up to the residency to see, help out. You could take one room, I'll take the other. And Frida actually brings up the whole situation about the date she has later tonight, and Priscilla's like, ooh, who's it with? Oh, nobody, we're just going out for dinner. Okay. So then she talks about how she hadn't seen Gene around, and Priscilla's ears perks up, and she talks about how, yeah, I knew she was too young to work this job. It's like anytime she has a fight with her boyfriend, she ends up not showing up the next day. It's like, how would you know about this kind of stuff? Well, Jean talks to Linda, and Linda just blabs everything to anyone. She's like, you shouldn't be talking to Jean. You shouldn't be talking about Jean that way. So basically, 2 days ago, apparently Jean had a big fight with her boyfriend, and he calls a lot, but he's getting no answer. So I don't know if this means that the boyfriend like calls the White House number or something to talk with Jean, but she doesn't answer, because I'm like, how would they know about a fight like from 2 days ago if whatever? So basically, she then asked about Richard and Nancy if their marriage is going well, and then Priscilla's like, hey, leave him alone. Don't worry about it. They're okay. Don't worry about it, Frida. So after that, we move on to the next scene, and it turns out Alan is actually quite an abusive partner, and here's his relationship with Ellie. So I think Ellie's getting ready for the workday, and Alan checks her phone because she's getting some alerts, and she's actually changed the password, and he's mad about it. I think she has like a retinal scan or something, or facial recognition, because when Alan holds the phone up to her face, it opens up and he sees that there are dick pics and everything, and we know who they're from. So essentially they have a back and forth, and when he threatens her, she's like, you better watch out because we'll take you down. Who's we? Her new man, which is the president. And Alan's like, do you think he really cares about you? All you do is sleep your way up to the top. It's like, I thought that story between you and the senator was fake, but after everything going on now, I think it was real. So when she mentioned that, oh, what? If I go to work, what are you going to do? Give me some more bruises for me to cover up? So essentially, this whole abusive thing has been going on for a while, not just in the previous episode where he kind of hit her across the head. So after that, Victoria goes into the bathroom and sees Hunter basically sending those pics, and basically says, look, as long as Jason's here, I'm not staying here. I'm going to go to my father, figure things out. I got a funeral to plan. And Hunter's like, you know what, fine. If you want to tell your father about all this, I don't care. So I'm just going to help get our son some help. So as soon as he says that, this fool Jason pops up from behind the tub, and I'm like, oh my God. So he comes out, it's like, Mom, Dad, listen to me. I'm sorry for what I did. I don't know what happens to me. It's like this thing just comes over me. Victoria ain't trying to hear shit. And basically she gets to the point, don't even call me mother. Call me Victoria. What? I can't believe I birthed something like you. And I'm like, yo, that's man. That's a damn shame. And then when she, fine, you know what, leave. You know what? You ain't leaving. I'm going to leave. And then Hunter's like, look, just give her some time, okay? We're going to get you some help. You're not leaving the White House. You're not going to prison. You're not getting committed. You'll be in another part of the White House. We'll have doctors come in to help you out. And, I think my favorite part is when Hunter tries to, put his hand on the shoulder, like reinforce his son that everything's going to be okay. So when he does that, I love how Jason kind of like brushes his hand away or something. And I thought it was because Jason's like, don't touch me. He essentially was saying, I saw what you were doing. Basically saying, look, you were just taking dick pics. I don't want your hand on my shoulder. I just love Hunter's face when, that particular scene happens. So basically Priscilla is cleaning. Well, she goes into Jason's room and she's like looking all over the room, like, behind doors and stuff like that, under the bed, just to see if there are any clues about Jean's whereabouts. And then Jason comes in. What are you doing in my room? And she's like, and that's the end of the episode. So I'm wondering, Priscilla was underneath the sheets under the bed. I'm like, Victoria kept saying there was a smell, and this smell was evident from the outside of the room. So wouldn't Priscilla have smelt something? Like, I mean, she was literally right there under the bed. Like, one could argue, like, well, Priscilla was right underneath the bed right when Jason popped up. And it looked like Jason came from behind her, like he came out of the closet or bathroom, because it seems like whatever secret passages there are, they're in the bathroom so Jason can like go from point A to point B. That's just my assumption. But either way, I thought this was a pretty decent episode. Like I said, it was a lot of exposition dumps, but at the same time, I had a good time watching it. So I give it a 9 out of 10 and I stand by my score. I can completely understand if you want to give it like a 7, 8 or whatever, but I do feel like the enjoyment factor made it good. And going back to the beginning of the episode where Jason talked about Gail and everything, it just goes back to why I feel like in episode 3 when Jason was like, Gail was taken away and Maud was taken to the hospital. I really wish we could have gotten that scene where the plane landed and we saw Gail being taken away and stuff like that. I really wish we would have seen it. But thanks so much for tuning into this episode review. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.